I think there's thrilling news right now when it comes to Onyx. The reason why is because even Onyx themselves posted on X and they said how they are thrilled to announce the launch of the Onyx XCN wallet, now approved by both Apple and Google Play stores. Why do I think it's a major victory? It's because if we take a look at, for instance, the App Store, the App Store allegedly attracted over 650 million average weekly visitors worldwide back in 2022. So that was years ago. Imagine the numbers right now. Arguably as well, we take a look at the Google Play Store, which allegedly in 2025 is estimated to have billions of users and over 2 million apps available. That is very impressive in my perspective. So I think this is a good victory. Granted, when people say, oh, the wallet, right, who cares? Look, creating a wallet, having a wallet when it comes to just a project in general right now, it's nothing unique, it's nothing interesting, it's nothing really that different because many projects out there do have wallets. But I can't say that I don't think this is good because I think it's good. I think this is a good victory when it comes to something like Onyx, and I think it's actually very thrilling because I would assume that, let's say, being approved by both Apple and Google Play stores, I think that takes work. I don't think it's something that someone could just lazily, slap together and then just, oh yeah, we'll do this, we'll do that. I don't think that's the case. I think this takes effort, this takes time, and I think if anything, it's an indicator that Onyx treats their project seriously. It doesn't seem like they're treating it for fun or like a part-time thing. Like what I've seen with other projects out there, they seem to kind of treat it as a part-time thing, and maybe it is in their case. I have no idea, but they rarely update and they rarely do much. And also on top of that, they just seem to want to wait until the hype is there before they do something. But when it comes to Onyx, it seems like it's a very consistent thing, and it seems like they're heading in the right direction. And I don't think this guarantees any sort of success or something like that. But then at the same time, I must say that when it comes to the fundamentals, I like the direction in which it's heading. However, people like to say, oh, Onyx, they're trying to launch Goliath, at least the mainnet, in Q1 of next year. This is not going to be good and all this type of stuff. However, I think time and time again, we've seen that usually people care about the narrative, the anticipation, the story. So I think that's pretty good in of itself. Like for instance, Goliath is allegedly going to be this layer 1 blockchain for the world of finance. And that's really fitting, I think, with the whole sort of vibe of Onyx. It's focused on the payments market. It's focused on the global trade and finance market. It's often viewed as sort of this miniature version of Ripple and Stellar. So I think that right there just makes sense. Also, we take a look at when it comes to Onyx, sometimes people really hype up Onyx V2 and they think that, oh, it could be cool, but then they think it's going to be a little bit useless. However, allegedly, through Onyx V2, Onyx is supposedly going to be more, I would say, focused towards regulation or compliance or that type of vibe. So I do really like that as well. However, even besides all that, if let's say XCN were to hypothetically go to the price of 25 cents, is that still on my mind? Arguably, yes, because if XCN were to go to that price, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $8.5 billion, which is around a 17x from here. Sometimes people like to say, who cares about that? It's not that good and all this. However, for me, if I was looking for a microcap, I would not believe in XCN. However, if I was looking for around a 2 or 3x, I wouldn't be looking at this either. So for me, this is a medium balance in between because I don't want to go after a project that's quote unquote a dinosaur where the market cap is too massive. However, at the same time, I don't want to enter into a microcap. So I like what I'm seeing here. I think naturally, if XRP and XLM does do very well during a fully fledged type of altcoin season, I think some of it may trickle down into something like XCN because we're seeing as of right now, there is sort of this demand for projects that are beyond Ripple and Stellar, but then still focus on the same markets like payments and global trade and finance. And XCN, much like ZBCN, XPR, Swiftcoin, and as well as XDC, they're one of the few that are reputable, that are often associated as being alternatives to XRP and XLM. So I think this is in a pretty good and awesome sort of perspective for me because it's a market that seems to be gaining attention and there's not that many reputable players. And I do like this. XCN has a proven community. It's very solid. It's not the biggest out there, but I do like it. And the market cap is in the hundreds of millions, so I think it showcases some sort of stability there. And also, XCN has historically proven that even when altcoins weren't necessarily doing the best, it had a pretty good run. Now, I get it, there's a pullback, and the hype hasn't really been quite the same like before. However, if we do see that next leg up, we do see that fully fledged type of altcoin season, If XCN was able to do that before without really much hype, imagine what it could do maybe arguably in the future. So I'm still staying patient. And even if we take a look at around $8.5 billion market cap, which it would have at the price of 25 cents considering current circulating supply, that's not even 10% of XRP's current market cap. And look, XRP, don't get me wrong, XCN is never overtaking that. However, if XRP arguably, let's say, does better during a fully fledged type of altcoin season, why can't XCN maybe hypothetically reach less than 10% of XRP's current market cap right now? This is the way I view it, especially when I consider how beyond XRP and XLM, there's only arguably 5 reputable projects within the space of payments and global trade and finance, and one of the 5 being XCN. So that's not even that many. This is just my mentality. However, even besides all that, I can at least take a look back in history, even though I do not know the future, and see how usually altcoins typically, again, historically, as a worst-case scenario, they usually peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event. We add 18 months on top of the last Bitcoin halving event, which happened last year in April, so April of 2024. 18 months on top of that, a year and a half, that would be October of this year. Is that a set date? Is that going to happen at that time? I do not know, because I do not know the future. However, even if maybe, let's say we assume in a make-believe scenario that date is October, I don't think it's too short of a time frame anyways, because even if we take a look at Bitcoin, which is literally the largest project out there, take a look at how fast that can move both up and also down. We see the volatility there, especially for a project that is literally the biggest in the space right now. So what would happen during a fully fledged type of altcoin season to an altcoin, which XCN of course is? Maybe the movements, I get it, it could also be bad, who knows? However, arguably, if let's say it is good, we can see how sometimes it doesn't necessarily take multiple decades or something like that to maybe do, let's say, around a 5x or something like that. Whereas if we take a look at the S&P 500, something like gold, movements which are very massive, sometimes it takes a very long time. So when I take a look at XCN, I still believe in this. I'm still a fan. There is no guarantees what it's going to do in the future. And even if, let's say, that October date doesn't come true, let's say altcoins, for whatever reason, if it ever does peak in Q1 of next year, it's fine by me anyways, because I was waiting this entire time to begin with. So if I have to wait a couple months, 6 months, whatever the case may be, it's not going to be such a big deal for me. And this is just my perspective. However, in the meantime, I'm just going to stay patient and continue to hold and wait. And that's pretty much about it, because beyond that, I am not able to do anything else. I can just stay patient, but why wouldn't I, the way I view it? Because there's currently over 600 million crypto owners right now. And this is not a projection. This is not what could we have 10 months later, 5 months later. This is what we have right now. And back in the peak of the 2021 bull run, there was around 300 million crypto owners. And we saw what altcoins were able to do back then with that crypto owners amount, I should say. So right now, with the amount of enterprise adoption, with way more crypto owners, also on top of that, we take a look at how, generally speaking, a lot of these people seem to be more knowledgeable when it comes to this space, because I think back then it was more so just based on, what people thought were cool and interesting, but I think now people understand more about the fundamentals. Now there's more recognition for projects beyond XRP and XLM that are focused on global trade and finance and the payments market. And I think something like XCN is arguably at the right place at the right time, in my opinion, also with a bunch of its reputable competitors. And I think the reason why is because right now, there's not that many competitors, and there seems to be a lot of attention for projects that are beyond XRP and XLM, or should I say Ripple and Stellar. So I do like the timing here. Had XCN popped up 10 years later, that's a different case where there might be way more competitors within this space. So I like what I'm seeing here, and I'm just going to stay patient, and that's pretty much about it. But I do like what they recently announced regarding the App Store and as well as the Google Play Store. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I'd greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.